The days passed, and there was still no word from Antonio. My friend checked in with everyone who knew him, including his boss at work. Nobody had seen him since that night. He logged in to check what it was. It was an image sent to all of her followers, titled, "My Final Post."
Oh no. What's good, y'all? So in this video, I'm going to be reacting to True Onlyfans Horror Story 4, narrated by Lazy Masquerade. I've done one of these before. It's not really surprising that this kind of stuff happens. There's weirdos all over the planet. So I feel like it is very common that this is going to happen, especially when you're on a platform that is like sexual. Because shoot, I had got some weirdos on my shit, and I don't post sexual shit on Instagram. Like, so of course that it would happen on OnlyFans. And I think that, like, if you are a content creator on OnlyFans, you just got to be really careful about like the conversations you engage in. And I get it, a lot of people like need money and stuff, but like, don't just be like careful. Like, if somebody's asking you to do some weird ass shit for money, like, I don't know, bro. Like, it's just like not worth it. And be very careful about like your location and your settings on your phone and all that stuff, just so like you're safe at the end of the day. But yeah, these stories be freaking weird. So you know what? Let's just get into it.
This all took place in my home country of Brazil.
Oh, and by the way, of course, anytime it's like a weird vibe, we always got the sage, bro. We have to have our fucking sage. I'm burning something right now. I'm very, very, conscious of like the vibes that are in my space. So, yeah.
I never met the guy personally, but everyone who had told me he was a really funny guy, and like most funny guys who are at least a little bit handsome, he was very popular with the ladies. One day, Antonio told my buddy that he had organized a date with a model. "A model?" said my friend. "You're serious? Anyone I've heard of?" "Maybe," said Antonio, who handed his phone over to my friend. Open on the screen was an Onlyfans page. The girl whose page it was didn't have that many images or videos uploaded, so it was obvious her page was pretty new, but my friend did recognize her immediately. She was a local woman called Isabella, young and absolutely gorgeous, one of the best looking girls he had ever laid his eyes on.
Shoot, I can't
In his
tell.
words, she had a booty like an onion. It'd make a grown man cry.
What? What did he just say to me?
An onion. It'd make a grown man cry. Antonio had met her in our small town and asked her for her contact information. Instead, she took his phone and opened up her OnlyFans page. From there, he became a follower. He sent her a DM and asked her out on a date. She said no at first, but Antonio was persistent and kept asking. Rather than reply using words, she sent back an image which was hidden behind a paywall, the equivalent of about $50. Antonio was a pretty wealthy young man, so, curious as he was, he paid the money and opened the message without a second thought, hoping for a raunchy picture. The image was just text, a time and address for their date. It also said to bring money to pay for dinner. Like I said, my friend knew who Isabella was, and knew that she already had a boyfriend, a mean Philodomai called Davy. Davy rolled with some really bad dudes, was into some shady shiz, and you could tell just by looking at the guy that you wouldn't want to mess with him. My buddy warned Antonio to be careful, to cut contact with Isabella, and not to go on this date with her. Antonio didn't listen, since Isabella told him that she was single, and that her and this Davy guy must have broken up. That evening, Antonio got dressed up and drove off on his moped to meet Isabella. Now my friend, being a man of culture, was of course a little bit curious himself about Isabella's online uploads. He decided to sign up on the site and became a follower of hers himself. It was only cheap to do so. the equivalent of a couple of bucks a month. Well, there weren't many pictures and videos to look through, but Isabella was clearly focusing on quality over quantity, and my friend wasn't disappointed with what he saw. He logged off around 11 PM and went to bed. That next morning, my friend sent Antonio a message, asking him how things went with Isabella. No reply. Antonio usually replied to his messages really quickly. Maybe things had gone well after all, and he was still with her. He waited until the afternoon. Still no reply. A tad unusual for Antonio, but maybe he was just getting a little afternoon delight. No. The days passed, and there was still no word from Antonio. My friend checked in with everyone who knew him, including his boss at work. Nobody had seen him since that night. People were starting to get worried.
They should.
The authorities seemed to have little interest in helping find him, saying that Antonio was a grown man and had probably gone off traveling or something by himself since his moped was never found. Isabella continued posting on her account as normal, and since my friend was still following her, he decided to send her a DM, asking if she knew where Antonio was. If so, was he alright? Instead of text, she sent back an image, which he could unlock for $50. No words, just an image hidden behind a paywall. My pal didn't have a lot of money, but something told him he had to open it. He paid the money and opened the picture. It was a photo of a dirty shovel in close-up. The hand gripping it was obviously male. Behind it, he could make out a hole in the earth, large enough to fit a human inside. It was captioned, "What do you think?" My friend didn't want to believe it, but in his heart, he knew what had happened, and he knew he'd never see Antonio again. He tried desperately to get Isabella to reply to him via DM, but that was the last he ever heard from her too. She continued uploading content to her account, but both she and Davy left town shortly after Antonio vanished. Surely not a coincidence. It seemed like both of them were in on this together after all. So, what happened that fateful night? Scenario 1. Davy was using Isabella and forcing her to post images of herself online so he could make a little money. She was the face, and he was the one behind the messages, and lured Antonio into a trap. Scenario 2. Davy didn't know that Isabella was using the site, and when he learned that she was actually going on a date with someone, he flipped. Maybe Isabella, realizing that Antonio just had some money in his pocket, targeted him specifically. Maybe they held him up, and he decided to fight back. Maybe they planned to do away with him from the beginning, and take whatever money he brought in his pockets. Sadly, the investigators did very little to help. Davy had ties to the fuzz, so it's possible they intentionally brushed everything under the rug, and told him and Isabella to skip town. Several months came and went, with neither Davy nor Isabella being seen around town at all. My friend continued to keep an eye on her page, hoping that a new clue would come to light. He thought that would be the end of it. Then, one night, he received a notification saying Isabella had uploaded a new photo. He logged in to check what it was. It was an image sent to all of her followers, titled, "My Final Post."
Oh no.
It was a blurry picture of Isabella in a dark, wooded area. Her eye was black, her face cut, and she looked absolutely terrified, her hands up near her face as if she was trying to protect herself. There was no caption to explain the image.
Why her hands backwards? Hold on, I gotta analyze. So I'm trying to see.
Herself. There was no caption to explain the image. Both the picture and her account were deleted shortly afterwards. Davy hasn't returned to our town since, and for our sakes, I hope he never does.
I'm not understanding. So, probably the best explanation was that Davy was forcing her to do it because I don't know, money. But the thing is that it didn't seem like malicious on her end for real. Like, it seemed like she was forced to do it. But why would he, like, why would he purposefully post stuff like that? Like, even post the whole to the friend or post her on her page, because then that seems like evidence. Shoot, if it was any time near now, which it had to be, if it was OnlyFans, you can just screenshot that shit. You know? I don't know. It just didn't seem smart, or it just seemed like he wanted some weird attention. Maybe he gets off by that. I don't know. But see, this is what I mean. There's just weirdos, and don't meet up with people. Shoot, not even just from OnlyFans, Instagram, Tinder, POF, all that. You gotta be careful. Nowadays, you gotta have a friend. You gotta do it during the daytime, public place, all that stuff. Do not go over to people's houses and do this dumb shit. Like, for real, for real. You gotta be careful. People are just crazy, and the way that people can cover stuff up now, or even catfish, people be having whole squads of people working together tricking somebody. Like, it's crazy, so you got to be careful. I like these. I like little stories like this. They have more, that they're not just OnlyFans, like they're just horror stories in general, and they're animated. But I really enjoy them, so I'm probably gonna do them more, even if y'all like don't really fuck with them. Like, I gotta do something that I like still. So yeah, I'll probably react to some more. This was dope though. Y'all like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you on the next one.